صل على محمد وآل محمد. عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري أنه قال عن فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله قال: سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت: دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال: السلام عليك يا فاطمة. فقلت: عليك السلام. قال: إني أجد في بدني ضعفا. فقلت له: أعيذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف. فقال: يا فاطمة ائتوني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به. فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به، وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن قد أقبل وقال: السلام عليك يا أمه. فقلت: عليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال: يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله. فقلت: نعم، إن جدك تحت الكساء. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جده يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ فقال: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي، قد أذنت لك. فدخلا معه تحت الكساء، فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال: السلام عليك يا أمه. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي: يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت: نعم، إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جده، السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخلا معهما تحت الكساء، فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال: السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال: يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله. فقلت: نعم، ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال له: وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء، ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت: السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال: وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء، فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرفي الكساء وأومأ بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال: اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، واذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. فقال الله عز وجل: يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي، إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري، إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل: يا رب ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل: هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. فقال جبرائيل: يا رب يتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله: نعم، قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك: وعزتي وجلالي، إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري، إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم. وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم، فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله: وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله. إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لأبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال النبي ثانيا يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم مهموم إلا وفرج الله همه ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وفوض أمره إلى الله إن الله بصير بالعباد ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ونعم المولى ونعم النصير. والصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام للرسول المسدد المصطفى الأمجد المحمود الأحمد الذي سمي في السماء بأحمد وفي الأرض بأبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين المنتجبين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. صل على محمد وقل رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري وأحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. أما بعد، قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتاب الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. صدق الله العلي العظيم. زينوا مجالسكم بالصلوات على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. My respected elders, brothers and sisters in Iman, wherever you may be in Allentown and across the globe, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's a privilege and an honor to be amongst you in this manner, in this format, during these challenging times. But as you know, it is the commemoration of the birth of Sayyid al-Shuhada himself, And that commemoration must take place. Whether it's physically, in the realm of the physical being, in the realm of being in proximity with one another physically, or in the digital sphere, in the realm of the souls, it doesn't matter. Because the commemoration of Sayyid al-Shuhada and his birth is being done much more in the heavens than is being done on earth. And therefore, no matter what calamity comes our way, as long as we are breathing, we will commemorate the Ahlul Bayt, and in particular Sayyid al-Shuhada, for commemorating his great sacrifice. Therefore, I would like to acknowledge you. I would like to acknowledge all of those who made this possible, that we can commemorate and continue the memory of the Ahlul Bayt, and in particular Sayyid al-Shuhada, which the Ahlul Bayt themselves have told us to commemorate and revive our memory. And therefore, we continue in that tradition. My dear brothers and sisters, the question that I want to pose to you in the onset of our conversation is, who is Hussain? Keep that question in the back of your mind. We'll return to it. When we look at the pages of history, the world has seen tremendous great people. The likes of people who were leaders on the social front, people who are the leaders on the governmental front, on the civic front, people who have been trying to make the world a better place, or in other formats, trying to impact and influence the world. Yet there are certain people who had such a mark that they left on this world, that the world became totally different after they left. And some of these people are known and some of them are not as known. The world knows the likes of, for example, Gandhi. People know the likes of world leaders such as Kennedy, Churchill, and the likes. But there are others who have had just as much impact, if not more, not only in this world, but in the world that is to come, that are not yet known to that level to the world. They may be known to us. And soon the world will find out. As the poet says, with respect to the movement and the message of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, the poet says, Insan ko bedar to ho lene do, har qaum pukaregi hamare hain Hussain. The poet, Josh Maliabadi, he says that let mankind awaken. Let mankind, the conscious of mankind, awaken. Once mankind's consciousness awakens, you will see that every tribe, every nation, every country, every person on the planet will call out and say that Hussain is from us, Hussain is ours. That is how powerful the movement of Sayyid al-Shuhada and the being of Sayyid al-Shuhada is. Therefore, we commemorate Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam in a manner today that it's always difficult to commemorate Imam al-Hussain because we remember him so much in the days of sorrow, the days of difficulty, the days of adversity, the days of calamities, the days of Muharram. But there's this one day, that is the 3rd of Sha'ban, where our hearts move that sorrow and they try to express the being of Imam al-Hussain. How does one express the being of Imam al-Hussain? This Imam who so much sorrow is combined with him, but his mercy, his immaculate benevolence, how do we commemorate it? The poet so beautifully, Kaif Kirmani says, Jashin Shabbir ka manana hai. Jashin Shabbir ka manana hai. Aaj aansu ko muskurana hai. He's describing what is the feeling that a mu'min, a believer, has with respect to Imam al-Hussain on the 3rd of Sha'ban, when we commemorate the birth of Sayyid al-Shuhada. He says it's the day that it is the jashin, the celebration of Sayyid al-Shuhada, of Shabbir, Imam al-Hussain, who is known as Shabbir, named after the sons of Aaron, the deputy of Harun. This Shabbir, he says, Jashin Shabbir ka manana hai. We must commemorate the celebration of the birth of Imam al-Hussain. How? In what way? Today, aaj aansu ko muskurana hai. He says, today the tears must smile. He is trying to convey what is going through the heart of every believer with respect to Imam al-Hussain, with respect to Sayyid al-Shuhada, this magnanimous personality, this person who gave everything so you and I can be and live in peace. He awakened the consciousness of humanity in order that you and I can be those individuals of free conscience. And we not only keep this message to ourselves, but we help the whole world understand who is Sayyid al-Shuhada, who is Imam al-Hussain, what is his impact in terms of changing the world and helping the world become a better place. Therefore, Tonight, in the brief moments that we have together, I would like to discuss Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam as one of the greatest leaders of humanity, one of the greatest leaders in history. And I want to look at, from the lens of Islam as well as outside of Islam, what type of person this individual is and how we can help to get this message across the globe. I want to first look at where Imam Hussain alayhi salam stands in the view of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam according to their own view. Number one. Number two, I want to look at what does the Quran say with respect to Imam al-Hussein. If Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam is so important, many people come forward and say he would have been in the Quran. Why is he not mentioned clearly in the Quran? We'll address it. When we looked at Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, we will go to the next level of his miracles in terms of his impact during his life, before his life, during his life, and even after his life. How much impact he's had on society and how his blessings continue to help us day in and day out. And in particular, number four, how can the blessing of Sayyid al-Shuhada, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, help us in these difficult times, in these turbulent times, the most difficult of times that we're facing in our modern world today, the crisis? What is the relationship of Ahlul Bayt in this? And what lessons can we derive to take practical solutions in our life? And what is it that the hearts of the poets and the believers feel on this special day, and where it is that we can commemorate it regardless of where we are? These are the main 5 points that I would like to touch on in terms of our conversation this evening. Wherever you may be around the globe, in Allentown, in America, or wherever you may be watching from the bottom of your heart, give one salawat on Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam's position and his personality can perhaps be understood at some level with a conversation between Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, his elder brother, and his half-brother Muhammad Hanafiya. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam is not physically present at this point in time, in this conversation. Imam al-Hasan and Muhammad Hanafiya are having a conversation. You see, in hindsight, we know everything is clear in hindsight. As they say, hindsight is 20/20. When I look back in history, I can see the reality very clearly. But when you're in that moment of time, things are not very clear. For example, with our current crisis in our world today, people may look forward 20 years down the line. They may look back at this era in time, and they say the leadership at this time may have made good decisions, may have made bad decisions. But right now, we are in one slice in history. But if you look at that moment in time, today we are making decisions on the fly as a society. And usually this is the circumstance of history. Why do I say this? When Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen was appointed and he became apparently the first Imam, although his Khilafah was taken, he was still the Imam. There's no doubt about this. Then after the assassination of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, we see Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam become the Imam. Now, when we look back, it's very clear for us that the first Imam is Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali, then Imam Hassan, then Imam Hussain. But for people at that time, it wasn't so clear because they didn't know afterwards. Right now, the Imamat has been from father to son. Does that mean the Imamat will continue in the line of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam and then it will be his sons continuing? Or will it be someone else? It wasn't so clear at that point in time. Will it be Imam al-Hussein? Will it not be? Maybe it will be Muhammad Hanafiya. Because if you know, there were claims by Muhammad Hanafiya afterwards. Nonetheless, at that point in time, Imam Hassan's having a dialogue with Muhammad Hanafiya. And he says, my brother, after me, the Imam, the rightful Imam will be Hussain ibn Ali. My brother will receive the mantle of Imamah. And the leadership of Imamah will continue through him. As you know, historically, even the Sadat are divided into two categories. The categories all coming from the descendants of Fatimah al-Zahra through Imam Hassan and Imam al-Hussein, but they're either Hassani or Husseini. The lineage of Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam, such as the Tabatabais and these line of Sadat are Hassanis. The Hussainis are the ones who continue from the line other than Imam al-Hassan. So that is for example, the Hussainis, meaning Abidis and the likes of the ones who went after the Zaydis, for example, Ja'faris, for example, all the way Radawis, all the way down to the line. So there's these two main branches. The conversation continues. He says, Imam Hassan says, Muhammad Hanafiya, after me the Imam will be Hussein. It will be my brother Imam al-Hussein will be the Imam after my passing. He says, and he starts to tell his merits and fadila. At that point in time, Muhammad Hanafiya begins to speak and respond back to Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam. When he begins to respond back to Imam Hassan alayhi salam, he begins to say, my brother, do you want to hear from me what Hussein is to me? Who is Hussein in my mind, in my understanding? Do you want to hear, in other words, he's saying, do you want to hear the fadail and the merits of Hussein from my heart, from my mind, from my position? He says, very well, my brother, I give you permission. Please continue, Muhammad Hanafiya. What do you say? He says, in my view and my understanding and my ma'rifah and my knowledge, there is no person after you who is more knowledgeable than Hussein. In terms of ilm, he is number one. In terms of knowledge, he is number one. He is categorizing what are those traits that Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam has. Why? In terms of his leadership abilities. You know, knowledge is one of those things that's the most important. You know, Plato, Aflatun, in his Republic, he argued that a person who is leading society must be the most educated person of society. He must be the person who has the most knowledge in society. The most knowledgeable person should be leading society. He believed in an aristocracy leading society. Not aristocracy in the sense that we think today. Not a financial aristocracy, the wealthiest person leading. Rather, he believed it was an intellectual aristocracy. Why? He believed this because the most intelligent people should be running society so that they know how to solve problems in a way that makes sense. Therefore, he said the person should not take on leadership up until the age of 35. And today, even in modern countries such as the United States, this age 35 comes from this idea that you must have studied. He said before that age, you must have studied in order to have gotten all the knowledge that is needed in order to lead, which included all the types of knowledge. Why do I say this? Because in our modern world, some people are coming forward and say, we will open the country up, we will open up society, no matter what happens by X, Y, and Z date. And this is something that someone who's not an expert in this field, this is exactly what Plato was arguing. If you don't have ilm, if you don't have knowledge, if you don't have that understanding, you will make decisions that are not the best and may not be in the best interest of the society at large. You may be looking at things from one lens. He said comprehensive knowledge is needed. Therefore, Muhammad Hanafiya, he says number one, ilm. Knowledge must be the category. And he says that there is no one who has more knowledge than Hussain ibn Ali. He says number two, hilm. No one has more hilm than Hussain ibn Ali. Hilm is what? Hilm, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a name. It is Al-Halim. It is one of the 99 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hilm and Halim have the same root word. That is this idea of forbearance. It may not be enough that I have knowledge. You may have seen people who have knowledge, but they don't have forbearance. They don't have patience. They don't have control over their knowledge. Therefore, they may say whatever comes to mind. They may even have anger problems, other issues, things that they are not able to control. They have knowledge, but they may not have forbearance, patience, in wisdom, a form of wisdom, if you will. This is what Muhammad Hanafiya was saying. Hussein, not only was he the most alim, not only did he have the most ilm, he had the most hilm of anyone on the planet at that time after Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam. Hilm. This is something that we need in our leadership across the globe. When I look at our community and other communities, one of the biggest challenges that we face globally, wherever I go, I've just returned recently in the past few months from India, from the UK, from wherever Allah has blessed us to go, this idea, one of the biggest challenges that we face globally, my dear brothers and sisters, is the challenge of the ego, where people are not able, leadership and otherwise, they're not able to put the ego to the side. They're not able to put themselves and say, will I do things in the best interest of the community? Will I do things that even if my ego is trampled upon, I'm doing this in the best interest of my community, and even if my name is apparently diminished in the eyes of the people, it does not matter as long as I do the right thing. You know, in family life, in community life, ego, many times the ego wants to do one thing, and that is to win. When the ego wants to win, it will do anything, even if it has to trample on the other person. Sometimes I'm at organizations. Alhamdulillah, there are people who are doing good work. But sometimes even in our community, the people who try to reinvent the wheel. Why? Because we want to do it our way. We'll not work with someone else, as an example. All of those things are in its own position. As I've said in lectures before, The concept or the idea of unity does not mean compromise. But at the same time, if there are things that are done for the ego, we must be mindful. Muhammad Hanafiya here is saying that Hussein, keep in mind, he's giving an answer to something that may come down the road. What is that? That people may say that Hussein went towards Karbala to fight Yazid in order to have his own worldly gains. And Muhammad Hanafiya is saying, Hussein, there is no one who has more hilm, more forbearance, more knowledge, more wisdom than Hussein ibn Ali. Therefore, he would never go for his own worldly gains. He will do whatever is needed in order to avoid bloodshed, to avoid war. That's why Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, he leaves Medina, he goes towards Mecca. He's trying to flee, he's trying to go away and not trying to fight. But they cornered him in a position to make him fight. He says, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam says, even if I was a fly that was in the proximity of the Kaaba, they would not leave me. What was he saying? He says, in the state of ihram, he's telling the people, you know, in a state of ihram, to even kill an insect in the vicinity of the Kaaba is not acceptable. They would not have left my blood in the sanctity of the Kaaba. In the sanctity of the Kaaba, I am leaving. This is what Muhammad Hanafiya identified. He says, in terms of hilm, there is no one in terms of Hussein ibn Ali. Then he continues, he says, in terms of closeness, in terms of proximity, to who? To Rasulullah, there is no one who is closer than Hussein. Why is this important? This brings us to the very important tradition and the very important saying of Rasulullah, where he says with respect to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, Husaynu minni wa ana min al-Hussein. Rasulullah says, the Holy Prophet says that Hussein is from me and I am from Hussein. The person who is reading history from an unbiased lens, from a fair lens, would look at this line and say that when Rasulullah says Husaynu minni, Hussein is from me, it makes sense because Rasulullah is the grandfather, the maternal grandfather of Imam al-Hussein. It makes sense because Imam al-Hussein descends from the line of Rasulullah. But what about this other line? Wa ana min al-Hussein. He says that, and I am from Hussein. This is something which one needs to contemplate about. One needs to think about. How is it that the grandfather is saying that I am from Hussein, my grandson? The historians, the people who've done exegesis and analysis on this, they come forward and say it's very clear that Rasulullah is saying in a number of levels, but he's especially saying that my mission, the mission of mine, that mission of 23 years where I struggled in Mecca and Medina to bring Islam to the world, that mission and that message is aligned with the mission and the message of my grandson Hussein ibn Ali. So if you see my grandson Hussein on the plains of Karbala, you see him at battle, at war, know that whoever is in his opposition, he is therefore in opposition not only to Hussein, he is in opposition to Rasulullah, he is in opposition to me, Rasulullah is essentially saying. Muhammad Hanafiya says to Imam al-Hasan, he says, my brother Imam al-Hasan, there is no one who is as close to Rasulullah as Imam al-Hussein. He continues and he begins to say. Then he continues and he says a fourth line, which is of interest. At the fourth stage, Muhammad Hanafiya says that that is Imam al-Hussein, was a faqih before he even came here. That is before he even came to this world. He was a jurist, someone who is a master in fiqh. You know, our scholars, Sayyid Sistani, may Allah bless him, Sayyid Hakim and other ulama and scholars who are the maraji of our time, Ayatollah Wahid al-Khurasani and other big maraji and scholars, these scholars are jurists, fuqaha, who study Islamic law and get to a point where they are able to derive Islamic law so that they take that responsibility off our shoulders if we choose to do taqleed of them in that regard. But this comes after many years of studying. This comes after many years of analysis, many years of studying. Does one get to a point where they're able to get there? He is saying that in terms of jurisprudence, forget knowledge, he's saying in terms of fuqaha, in terms of the people who are the biggest jurists, he says Hussein, there is no one bigger than Hussein. He was there at that stage before birth. Why is this interesting? Alam al-Hilli, who lived roughly 800 years ago or so, he was someone who was a big alim from our history of the Shia, of the Tashayyu. Allama al-Hilli, named after this town of Hilla in Iraq. Alam al-Hilli came from a line of scholars. In fact, his uncle was a very famous scholar by the name of Muhaqqiq al-Hilli. Muhaqqiq meaning the researcher of Hilla. His father was also an alim, Alam al-Hilli. And Alam al-Hilli was someone who was a big scholar himself. They say that he was someone who had reached the level of ijtihad where he could do his own taqleed, where he was a mujtahid before he became baligh, before he was even the age of 15 at the maximum for a male. He says he was before that, roughly around the age of 12, 13, this age, he was already at that level of knowledge where he was a faqih. And he was also someone who was slightly mischievous in that age. They would say that his father would chase him around the house, which at this point in time, I hope no one's chasing anyone around the house. You're keeping 6 feet distances from each other, but at the same time, you may have more proximity with one another within the home. Nonetheless, Alam al-Hilli is a young child running around the house, and his father is trying to catch him. He's telling a young Alam al-Hilli, sit down, settle down, and he corners him. When he corners him and he puts him in the corner, at that moment, Alam al-Hilli, who's a young child, is thinking, how do I get out of this? When he thinks to himself, how do I get out of this, something comes to mind. He right away recites a surah, or a verse, I should say, of the Quran, 4 verses of the Quran which meet this criteria. He recites one of the verses, which is wajib sajda. At that point in time, when he recites this, his father hears this, and he goes directly into prostration, into sujood, and Alam al-Hilli, who is not baligh and wajib at this time, goes right around the corner to get out. This was a jurist at a very young age. With respect to Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, he's saying faqih, or he's saying fiqh. This is something he's getting from the before birth. What is it that Hussain does not know with respect? What is it he does not know with respect to jurisprudence? He's analyzing, he's saying, in terms of the laws of Islam, no one knows the laws of Islam more than Imam al-Hussain. This is the 4th level. He's saying, therefore, in coded words, that anyone who comes against Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam is someone who is not a faqih, is someone who is not a jurist, is someone who does not have that insight. With respect to the word faqih, you will remember that faqih is the term that Imam al-Hussain used to describe his friend Habib ibn Malahir in the letter that he wrote him to ask for his assistance to come towards Karbala. He said, Ila rajulin faqih Habib ibn Malahir. He says, faqih, fiqh, that word actually we translate it as jurisprudence. A more correct translation would be the depths of knowledge. That's really what it's getting at. So therefore, he's saying that in terms of laws, in terms of understanding, and in terms of depth of knowledge, there is no one who has more depth of knowledge than Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. He's at the highest level. You will be hard pressed to find anyone. And number 5, Muhammad Hanafiya says to Imam Hassan alayhi salam, he says, my brother Imam al-Hassan, in terms of the 5th position of Hussain, is that there is no one who knows the Quran more than him. He was reciting the Quran before he was born. Why? Why is this something that's important? Sawa'iq al-Muhraqa is a book with respect to not the Shia school of thought, Ahl Sunnah. In fact, there are many oppositions within it. In Sawa'iq al-Muhraqa, we have a tradition that our brothers in Ahl Sunnah have with respect to Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, that he was reciting the lawh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the tablet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before he was born. I ask the Muslim world, where has your reverence and understanding and cognizance of the Ahlul Bayt gone? I hope inshallah it is there. And if it is not, I invite you as a brother to look and investigate what is it that the scholarship of Ahl Sunnah and the Muslim world at large said with respect to the Ahlul Bayt. That it was clear that no one has this level of ma'rifah and closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet as the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Therefore, at that point, Muhammad Hanafiya outlined and looked at what are those elements that Hussain has that make him the best leader of the time, that it cannot be comparable. It's clear, therefore, Muhammad Hanafiya is saying, it's clear to me that there is no one who is acceptable to be Imam after Imam Hassan alayhi salam. But the next question that I'd like to look at is with respect to the Quran. Many people say, if Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam was so important, where is he in the Quran? Where is he mentioned in the Quran? The question can be rephrased, where is Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam not in the Quran? Because when you look at the Quran, you will find that from the moment of revelation, from the beginning of revelation, from the first year of revelation, Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam is part and parcel of the Quran. We say Assalamu alayka many times in Ziyarat, Assalamu alayka ya Shariq al-Quran, referring to the one who is with the Quran, referring to and shedding light on this idea that this Quran is Samit and Quran is Natiq. That is, there is the Quran, which is the silent Quran, that is the physical book of the Quran, and then there's the Quran that is manifest, that is the talking Quran, the living Quran, the speaking Quran, that is the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Because the theory is in the book. How do I know the theory unless it is applied, unless it is in practice? How do I know this? It is none other and through the Imam alayhi salam that I understand what is true Islam, what is applied Islam, what did the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam want, and therefore I look at their life. That's how I understand it. But where is he in the Quran? With respect to the Quran, the Rasulullah is living the first 13 years of his message. At the age of 40, he makes the announcement of prophethood. When he makes the announcement of prophethood at the age of 40, 13 years he spends in Mecca, giving and preaching. Then 10 years in Medina. 23 years in total. The historians have said the change that Imam Hussein's grandfather Rasulullah implemented in Arabian society, Michael H. Hart and others who have even criticized Islam, come forward and say that leadership discipline, that leadership example that we see from the Holy Prophet is second to none in the history of humanity. He brought a spiritual system and a secular system, and he implemented both. It's never been done in the history of humanity. That leadership, he turned the entire face of Arabian society and the Muslim world throughout that time. Why is this significant? If you look at the surahs of the Quran, the verses of the Quran, the chapters of the Quran, I should say, when you look through them, there are certain chapters that are Makki and there are certain that are Madani. There are certain that are Mecca, from Mecca and Revelation, and some are in Medina. Many are mixed, as you can imagine. But the majority that went out in terms of the chapter, those are considered Makki, and the majority that have Madani are considered Madani. Why is this important? You will notice many a times, Makki surahs are generally shorter. Madani surahs many times are longer. What's the reason for this? In Mecca, in the first 13 years, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only wanted the people to accept Islam. And what they were saying was, Allah wanted them to say, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. That just say this. Why? Because those idols that were in the Kaaba before even Islam, there were over 300 of those idols. They had a deity named, the Arabs before Islam actually had a deity named Allah. Allah was not new to them. Allah literally is a contraction of two terms. Al-Ilah. Al-Ilah combined becomes Allah. Al meaning the, Ilah means deity. It was their ultimate deity. For example, in Hinduism and other faiths, you'll find the main deity, for example, Bhagwan or whatever they may call it, our dear friends. Their main deity, the same way the Arabs have their main deity, that main deity for them was Al-Ilah. They said this is the main God. But we have all these other gods for wealth and for income. The same way the Greeks, for example, had a god for different types of things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, very well, you believe in Al-Ilah, you believe in Allah. But it's not sufficient to just believe in Allah and also have other idols. You must reject them also. At that point in time, Rasulullah said, just accept La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Therefore, it was just on aqaid and belief. That's why those first chapters of Mecca are shorter. In Medina, the rules, the jurist, the fiqh came into being and came into play. And that's where the verses became longer. With respect to where is Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam in the Quran, the first and foremost place in the first year of revelation, one of the chapters that is revealed is the verse and the chapter of Surah Al-Fajr. Surah Al-Fajr, the verses that I recited at the end, the beginning of the lecture, are the final verses of Surah Al-Fajr. يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. The Quran is saying, يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة, O soul that are at rest, O soul that is at rest, return to your Lord in a state of satisfaction and join with his servants. Yeah, this is what the verses in the chapter is saying. At that point in time, when Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam, the sixth Imam, was asked about this surah, they said, Yabna Rasulullah. They said, Imam as-Sadiq. They said, Imam Ja'far, can you please tell us something about Surah Al-Fajr? Can you please do some tafsir, some exegesis, some explanation of Surah Al-Fajr? He said, first of all, do not call it Surah Al-Fajr. He says, call it Surah Al-Hussain. He says, call it Surah Al-Hussain because this is the surah that has been revealed for Hussain. Hussain is not even on the forefront yet. It is the first year of revelation. Rasulullah is 40 years old. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen is 10 years old. Hussain has not been born yet. Yet Imam Ja'far Sadiq, he's saying, if you look back, this verse, the verses of Surah Al-Fajr are referring to Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. It talks about the tyrants and those people. Don't think that you will go unchecked. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will check you in this world and in the world hereafter. The verses of Surah Al-Fajr are the verses that are alluding to Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. They were of course revealed before his birth, but even a second revelation, the sound was heard when Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam was slaughtered on the plains of Karbala. For a second time the verses were heard. This is number one, Surah Al-Fajr, Surah Al-Hussain. This is in honor of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. Where next? Surah Al-Kawthar. Surah Al-Kawthar. Inna a'tainaka al-Kawthar. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna a'tainaka al-Kawthar. As you know, As ibn Wa'il is in the vicinity of the Kaaba, and when he is leaving, he has a conversation with Rasulullah in the early days of Islam. As ibn Wa'il, the father of Amr ibn As ibn Wa'il. This same person who came up against Imam al-Hussain on the plains of Karbala, Amr ibn As, his father, As ibn Wa'il. He's in a conversation with Rasulullah. Look, Rasulullah said, Husaynu minni wa ana min al-Husayn. Look at how this message is connected with Rasulullah and Imam al-Hussain. As ibn Wa'il, and then Amr ibn As. What was the father, what was the son like? And then you'll understand what was Rasulullah and what Imam al-Hussain was like. They're having a conversation. No one can hear. The tribesmen of Quraysh and the tribesmen of Mecca are looking because Rasulullah has just made his announcement of prophethood. When he's just made his announcement of prophethood at that point in time, they're looking, who is this person who's talking to Muhammad, the young orphan nephew of Abu Talib? He's trying to dissuade people away. He's trying to destroy our business by getting rid of idols. He wants to take over this land. We can't let him talk. We can't let him talk. When Rasulullah goes his own way, As ibn Wa'il, he begins to go his own way. The chieftains of Mecca, they call out, they say, As, come here. As ibn Wa'il, come here. He said, what's going on? What do you want? What do you need? He says, who are you just speaking to? The tribesmen said, who are you just speaking to? He says, who? This one that I was just speaking to? He said, oh, nothing. I was just speaking to the one who is abtar. The one who is tailless. Abtar was a term that they used, a derogatory term that they used for someone who was tailless. That is the tailless donkey. The animal that was tailless, they would refer to someone who did not have a male son, a male offspring. They would say this person's tailless because their lineage will not continue. Their name will not continue. Therefore, he's abtar. At that point in time, they began to laugh. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was not laughing. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed Surah Al-Kawthar. He said, Inna a'tainaka al-Kawthar, he says to Rasulullah, we have given you Kawthar. One meaning for Kawthar is a spring in heavens. Another meaning for Kawthar, which Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam again says, he said, Kawthar is none other than the lineage of Hussain ibn Ali. Of course, this includes Imam Hassan alayhi salam, but Hussain is the comprehensive conclusion of what Kawthar means. The lineage of Rasulullah continued. In response to As ibn Wa'il, it continued through the line of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. Throughout the world, you have Sadat. Even despite so much persecution throughout history, you will find the lineage, the Abidis, the Zaydis, the Ja'faris, all the way, the Radawis, the Naqwis, you name it. They will be throughout the world because this is nothing necessarily of their own accomplishment. It is the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Rasulullah that, Ya Rasulullah, I will keep your lineage alive in the world because they came towards you and they tried to dishonor you, and I will make sure your honor is there forever throughout times. This was the promise. The next verse is, or verses with respect to where Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam is in the Quran, are Surah Safat. Surah Safat in the Quran al-Majid wa Furqan, specifically where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala converses with Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim is ready to sacrifice his son. And when he is ready to sacrifice his son, he makes all of the arrangements. He blindfolds himself. He goes towards sacrificing Ismail. And at that point in time, that child, Ismail, his son, is replaced with a ram. Something which is accepted by the Jewish faith and the Christian faith, Father Abraham, as is accepted. But at that point in time in the Quran, at that point in time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a dialogue and a conversation with Ibrahim. And he says, Ibrahim, that we have deferred this sacrifice of yours. Taraknahum fil akhirin. We have deferred this to the later times. The mufassirin of the Quran, the ones who do the tafsir of the Quran, they look forward and say, what is this transferal or deferment to a later date? A deferment to a later time. What is this? They say this is none other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replacing the sacrifice of Ismail with the sacrifice of Imam al-Hussain. Why? Because we have a tradition that says very clearly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked Ibrahim, he says, Ibrahim, who is more dear to you, Ibrahim? Are you more dear to yourself, or is your grandson Muhammad, who will be from your line, more dear to you? Ibrahim alayhi salam says, Ya Allah, he's the Khalil of Allah, he's the friend of Allah, Ibrahim. He says, Ya Allah, to me, the one who is more dear is Muhammad, because through him, my grandson, the final revelation, the final message will be revealed. He's more dear. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks Ibrahim, he says, Ibrahim, who is more dear to you, your son Ismail or Hussain? The grandson of Rasulullah, the grandson of Muhammad. At that point in time, Ibrahim says, the one who is more dear. Yes, Ismail is very dear to me. He is my son, but none is more dear to me than the grandson and the son of Rasulullah, as Rasulullah called him himself, Hussain. He says, therefore, very well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ibrahim, we have transferred, we have changed, we have moved, and we have deferred your sacrifice of Ismail to a later time, to a later date, to a later space, a later era, and it will be known. It is not something that we have taken away. There will be a sacrifice, but that sacrifice will be the sacrifice of Hussain ibn Ali on the plains of Karbala, on those moments of Karbala. My dear brothers and sisters, with respect to Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, there are certain gems and jewels. Wherever I go, by the blessings of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, people are craving for spirituality. This difficult time that we're facing, many of us, there are suffering and facing difficulties in terms of our finances in this time. Businesses are slow, work is slow, the economy is down, the markets are down, many people are hurting. I ask you to beseech the tawassul of Sayyid al-Shuhada in this time. That doesn't mean by any way, it means, I want to be clear, we must follow all of those elements that the experts in the field are telling us. The governmental experts, the medical experts, the leadership and the administration. In our communities, at the local, national, state level, and the federal level, we must follow all of those things. But at the same time, in Islam, we have the concept of dawa and dua. That is medicine as well as supplication, combined together, not one or the other. We must at this time also beseech the Ahlul Bayt to help us spiritually in this time. And this is one of the best times to build a bond with the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Because their miracle is such that is not just limited to humanity, it's much beyond that. Why? How? Fitrus, the angel, or Fatrus as they call him, he's the angel who lost his wings. Why? Many people ask the question, this individual Fatrus, this story that they may have heard in childhood, how is it possible for an angel to do something where they lose their wings? Because angels don't have free will. They only do that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded. It's a good question. With respect to this, the scholars have given the answer. Fatrus had requested a request from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The request was, Ya Allah, I want to see a glimpse of your light. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, similarly, the way He told Musa, if you remember, Musa said to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Musa was Kalimullah. He had the ability to speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Musa, he says, Ya Allah, I want to see you. The response from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran is interesting because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran said, Musa lan tarani. For those who study the Quran, and this is an excellent time to perhaps study the Quran for those who are inclined to do so, when you hear certain terms, innama, for example, or lan tarani, for example, these are exclusive terms, meaning innama, only those. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says, innama yakhsha Allah min ibadihi al-ulama. Only those who have fear of Allah are the ulama, are the scholars. The same way, when the term lan tarani, tarani means see me, lan means you will never. I want to give some anecdotes from the life of the Ahlul Bayt. The Ahlul Bayt, as Muhammad Hanafiya says, Imam Hussain was the utmost in hilm. He was not someone who had an anger. He was someone who had complete control over his nafs. I say this because this is a time to develop bonds, to develop friendships, to develop and rekindle that love amongst one another. I've mentioned to you in the past 100 years, 50 years, the rate of loneliness in America has doubled. We are wealthier than in any time in history, perhaps before this epidemic, but before that, we were living in very good, prosperous times, one of the longest prosperous times. But people are yet not happy. Mental illness has been on the rise. There are many challenges. Now, there's a biological element of that. I don't want to get into that. But in some countries, holding all other things constant, you still find in many affluent countries in the world, people are not tranquil in their minds. Use this time to develop friendships and relationships with your family, keeping the 6 feet or more distance, but at least having a conversation within the confines of the home. To actually develop those bonds, be patient. Try to develop a good relationship, a loving relationship, a caring relationship, not one where you try to find the faults, not one where you try to argue, for example. And I know that can be challenging at times as well. One tip and one advice is actually learning from nonviolent communications. Authors such as Rosenberg and others have highlighted the way in which you communicate something may be much more important than what exactly are the words that you say, although the words that you say are very important. For example, he cites a study from O.J. Harvey at the University of Colorado where he looks at certain countries that in their literature they have the word good versus bad in their literature. Which countries use good more, which countries use bad more. When he analyzed this, he found that countries that use the word bad more in their literature and their writings, they actually have a higher rate of violence compared to countries that don't, compared to countries that use the word good more. O.J. Harvey argued that it's because the people who use the word bad and negative words such as this, they have more judgment in their society in terms of compared to others. And therefore, in that judgment, they think that people should be punished more compared to others. You may think this is just a societal study at the national level. I tell you, sometimes in our own households, we start to use these terms without realizing it. I remember when I was conversing with some of the brothers in my last lecture series in Allentown about spouses and relations and how they speak, the 4 horsemen of doom, if you remember. Many people realize we didn't even know that perhaps we margined on this idea of perhaps criticizing one another, and we didn't even realize that we didn't mean to. One way that researchers say that you can develop this relationship with loved ones and people in your family is by saying first, identifying why you are saying what you're saying. For example, if a parent tells their child, pick up your clothes, do the dishes, look after yourself. When that child does not listen, for example, stop and pause and reflect. The next line, why are you saying the next line? Are you saying it because you care for the child and you don't want them to get harmed or hurt and the place must be in order and they deserve a clean space? Or are you now saying it because your ego has been hurt and you want to win? The researchers say the height of cognizance and consciousness is understanding why you're saying what you're saying. Is it because you want to win? Or is it because you actually care? When you share compassion and you say my child, or a husband says to the wife, my wife, or father, son, and children, those relationships, when you say, I say this because I care about you, and you clarify that communication and start from a place of compassion, you're much likelier to get results. As opposed to saying, I said this must be done and you must follow it. This is what the research shares. I share this because make this a time to develop relationships. The number one regret that people have on their deathbed, as cited by people living in hospices, is that they didn't spend enough time with their family. They regret not spending enough time. They say, I was working, I was spending time on business, I didn't spend time with the people who are the most important in my life. Don't let that be your regret. Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam cultivated that time with his family, even in his last moments on the plains of Karbala. The love that he had for Ali Akbar, for his son, for his nephew Qasim, for Abbas, for all those family members, and not only just the family members, his friends, Habib ibn Wadahir, Muslim ibn Awsaja, the companions of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. Revive their memory as well in this night. Rekindle old friendships of people that you may not have been in touch with some time. Rekindle them. Imam Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, Imam al-Mu'mineen says, live amongst people in such a way that when you're alive, they crave your company, and when you die, they weep for you. Imam al-Mu'mineen says, unfortunate is the one who is not able to get a few sincere friends in his lifetime. Rekindle those old friendships, those bonds. Ask people how they're doing. And inshallah, you will see tranquility in your life. And spirituality, as my final point, my dear brothers and sisters, spirituality. This is the time to develop. I give you the gift of the dua of Arafah of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. Study that dua. Make use of that in order to benefit. Everyone has their own favorite part of that. I draw your attention to the anatomical description of the human body that Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam is given. He says, Ya Allah, by your magnificence and by the matrices of my teeth, the socket and the jaw that connect, by the aorta and by the rib cage and all the vessels and veins in the body, he's giving, it seems, a complete anatomical description of the human body. He says, how can someone not believe in you? And he says that magnificent line. He says, oh my Lord, Ilahi, my Lord, what has he gained who has lost you? And what has he lost who has gained you? This is Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam's ma'rifah, his spirituality, that we ask Allah to help us get a glimpse of this spirituality in this time. Because it is none other than Allah, that God Almighty, who can help deliver us from this difficulty and this challenge. The poet, it would not be complete a conversation of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, because his heart and our hearts connect. The message of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam is perhaps a message, in the connection that the Shia feel with Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam is perhaps such a feeling that one cannot describe in words. Therefore, we must go towards the pens of the poets. How many lines have been written in Arabic, in Farsi, in Urdu, and in English? We don't have enough yet. We have to write much, much more. But still, people are trying in this regard. With respect to the poetry of Sayyid al-Shuhada, there's some of the most unbelievable the poet captures. Kaifiyat hai na qabile izhar Hussain. Kaifiyat hai na qabile izhar Hussain. Aaj haste hue rote hain azadar Hussain. The poet says that the kaifiyat, the nature, the feeling is undescribable, O Imam al-Hussain. Aaj haste hue rote hain azadar Hussain. Today, the mourners, your azadars, they laugh and they cry simultaneously in your memory. That is the feeling of the 3rd of Sha'ban, that we commemorate your happiness, but how do we detach ourselves from your sorrow? How do we detach ourselves from our sorrow? No, we never want to detach ourselves from your sorrow. The dua that we have is, Ya Allah, do not give us any sorrow except the sorrow of Sayyid al-Shuhada, the sorrow of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. We do not want to go away from it. The poet says, Chhodta nahi humko Karbala ka gham tanha, varna chal nahi sakte, hum to do qadam tanha. The poet says that the sorrow and the tragedy of Karbala does not leave us alone. And if it had left us alone, we would not be able to walk even 2 steps without Sayyid al-Shuhada and his sorrow and his commemoration. This is the passion and this is the love of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. The poet continues and the poets continue and they say, Mujhko duniya mein koi shakhs bhi aisa na mila. मुझको दुनिया में कोई शख्स भी ऐसा न मिला जो ये कह सकता हो शब्बीर से मांगा न मिला, जो ये कह सकता हो शब्बीर से मांगा न मिला, और एक बार उनकी सखावत के मुताबिक मांगे, एक बार उनकी सखावत के मुताबिक मांगे, ऐसा मौला को कोई मांगने वाला न मिला, ऐसा मौला को कोई मांगने वाला न मिला। और शहने आशूर की शब ऐसे बुझाया था दिया, शहने आशूर की शब ऐसे बुझाया था दिया, ढूंढती रह गई खुद रात अंधेरा न मिला, ढूंढती रह गई खुद रात अंधेरा न मिला। The poet says, I did not find, मुझको दुनिया में कोई शख्स भी ऐसा न मिला, I did not find a single person in the world who could say, जो ये कह सकता हो शब्बीर से मांगा न मिला, who could say that I asked Shabbir, I asked Imam al-Hussain and I did not give. Further he says, और एक बार उनकी सखावत के मुताबिक मांगे, and if someone could ask one time according to the generosity of Imam al-Hussain, Imam al-Hussain, ऐसा मौला को कोई मांगने वाला न मिला. Imam al-Hussain himself did not find anyone who could ask at his level of generosity, the generosity of Sayyid al-Shuhada. And he says, Shahne Ashur ki shab aise bujhaya tha diya. That the way that Sayyid al-Shuhada, he extinguished the candle on the night of Ashura, he says he did it in such a way that the night kept looking for darkness, it could not find it. What was he referring to, the poet? That those 72 companions of Sayyid al-Shuhada, no one moved. It was as if in the darkness the candles had been lit by Sayyid al-Shuhada. That's the miracle of Sayyid al-Shuhada. The miracle. The poet says, Rutbe mein ho naji, to wahi shan chahiye. Ab Nuh ko najat ka सामान चाहिए, कश्ती हो बादबां हो निगहबान चाहिए, कश्ती के तैरने को भी तूफान चाहिए, लेकिन ये मौजिज़ा है शहे मशरिक़ैन का, खुशकी पे तैरता है सफीना हुसैन का. The poet says this is the miracle of Sayyid al-Shuhada, that even in the dryness of the desert, the safina, the ship of Sayyid al-Shuhada, it goes through the desert without any water. Why is this significant? Because the Ahlul Bayt have said, we are Safinatun Najat, that the Ahlul Bayt are the ship, the ark of salvation. And Imam al-Hussein, the Ahlul Bayt say, the fastest of the arks of salvation is the salvation ark of Sayyid al-Shuhada. This is what the poet is alluding to there. And the final points, Dono jahan ki mangta ni'mat Hussain se, one of my favorite couplets. Dono jahan ki mangta ni'mat Hussain se, kam zarf mangta raha bayat Hussain se, kam zarf mangta raha bayat Hussain se, और आया था सबसे देर में लेकिन कमाल है, आया था सबसे देर में लेकिन कमाल है, हुर सबसे पहले ले गया जन्नत हुसैन से, आया था सबसे देर में लेकिन कमाल है, हुर सबसे पहले ले गया जन्नत हुसैन से. The poet says, दोनों जहां की मांगता नियामत हुसैन से, that he would have asked or could have asked for the wealth and the treasures of both worlds, this world and the next. He says, Kam Zarf, the person who was a fool, who didn't have much intellect, he asked Hussein for bay'at. He asked the Imam for bay'at. You could have asked anything else. He's referring to Yazid. He could have asked for anything else. He did not have that foresight. He just looked short-sightedly. At that point in time, Imam al-Hussein would have given him everything. What would he not have given? He would have given everything. But he asked for the wrong thing. At that point, the poet continues, and ayata sabse der mein, he says that he came in the last, he came very late, but it's a miracle. Hur sabse pehle le gaya jannat Hussain se. Hur takes jannat, he takes heaven from Hussein first by sacrificing his life. This is the miracle of Sayyid al-Shuhada. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the blessing of Sayyid al-Shuhada, by the blessings of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, to bless all of those who are watching, their families, their loved ones, their friends. Bless all of them by the miracle of Sayyid al-Shuhada, Imam al-Hussein and his barakah. The same way Petrus was granted his desires in this eve of the birth of Sayyid al-Shuhada. Ya Allah, grant us all our desires. Ya Allah, by Sayyid al-Shuhada and the shifa that you have given Sayyid al-Shuhada and the ability to help and assist not only him, by his children, by Babul Hawaij Ayun Asghar and his his loved ones. Ya Allah, grant us our hajat and grant us alleviation from these difficult times and the challenges. Ya Allah, keep the faces of the mu'mineen and the lovers of the Ahlul Bayt smiling in these times. Although they may be difficult, we are those who follow the Ahlul Bayt. We are sad in their times and we are happy in their times. We are happy. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless the whole world by the blessings of Sayyid al-Shuhada, and we commemorate Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam with the beautiful manqabat and munajat that you are to hear. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. My dear elders, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First and foremost, I'd like to wish you all a blessed Kush Ali Mubarak. We live in unprecedented times, but remember the Majlis of Hussain has never stopped and will never stop. And although we are all facing a lot of hardships, remember the hardships that we face is not greater than the happiness of Wafatul Bayt. So we're all sitting in our homes and celebrating, inshallah. I'd like to start off with a couple of couplets of poetry. Let's all recite aloud salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wherever you are. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajal farna. یہ جتنے شاہ و تونگے دکھائی دیتے ہیں، یہ جتنے شاہ و تونگے دکھائی دیتے ہیں، سبھی حسین کے نوکر، سبھی حسین کے نوکر دکھائی دیتے ہیں، یہ جتنے شاہ و تونگر دکھائی دیتے ہیں، کہیں زمین پہ فرشتے نظر نہیں آتے، کہیں زمین پہ فرشتے نظر نہیں آتے، مگر حسین کے در پر دکھائی دیتے ہیں، سبھی حسین کے نوکر، سبھی حسین کے نوکر دکھائی دیتے ہیں، یہ جتنے شاہ و تونگر دکھائی دیتے ہیں، صلوات علی محمد و آل محمد، اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد. A few more poetry in respect of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. حسین بانٹ رہے ہیں نجات لے جاؤ، حسین بانٹ رہے ہیں نجات لے جاؤ، کچھ آنسو کی وجہ کائنات لے جاؤ، حسین بانٹ رہے ہیں نجات لے جاؤ. یہ کربلا ہے، معجزے نما کی بستی ہے. یہ کربلا ہے، معجزے نما کی بستی ہے. کفن میں اس کو لپے تو حیات لے جاؤ. حسین بانٹ رہے نجات لے جاؤ. نہیں کروں گا لحد میں انتظار سفر. نہیں کروں گا لحد میں انتظار سفر. فرشتوں کرب و بلا راتوں رات لے جاؤ. حسین بانٹ رہے ہیں نجات لے جاؤ. کہیں گی فاطمہ وقت ظہور مہدی سے. کہیں گی فاطمہ وقت ظہور مہدی سے. لڑائی کے لیے غازی کو ساتھ لے آؤ. حسین بانٹ رہے نجات لے جاؤ. اور آخری شعر. جو آج تک نہ ملا ہو تمہیں خدا کی قسم. جو آج تک نہ ملا ہو تمہیں خدا کی قسم. وہ آ کے تیسری شعباں کی رات لے جاؤ. حسین بانٹ رہے ہیں نجات لے جاؤ. حسین بانٹ رہے ہیں نجات لے جاؤ. پھر آنسوں کے بس کائنات لے جاؤ. حسین بانٹ رہے ہیں نجات لے جاؤ. صلوات علی محمد وآل محمد. اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. نماز زندہ ہے تو سر بسر حسین سے ہے. نماز زندہ ہے تو سر حسین سے ہے، خدا کے نام میں سارا اثر حسین سے ہے، غلاف خانہ کعبہ کا رنگ یہ کہتا ہے، خدا کا ہوتے ہوئے بھی یہ گر حسین سے ہے، فرش کو عرش بناؤ کہ حسین آئے ہیں، فرش کو عرش بناؤ کہ حسین آئے ہیں، سب کو پیغام سناؤ کہ حسین آئے ہیں، اے فرشتوں چلے آؤ کہ حسین آئے ہیں، جاؤ فطروس کو بلاؤ کہ حسین آئے ہیں، آج قرآن سناؤ کہ حسین آئے ہیں، ظالموں خیر مناؤ کہ حسین آئے ہیں، یا رسول اللہ طول سجدے کا بڑھاؤ کہ حسین آئے ہیں، فرش کو عرش بناؤ کہ حسین آئے ہیں، کہ حسین آئے ہیں، یہ عطائے قدرت ہے ہم حسین والے ہیں، یہ ہماری قسمت ہے ہم حسین والے ہیں، ہم نبی کے عاشق ہیں ہم علی کے دیوانے، اور حسن سے نسبت ہے ہم حسین والے ہیں، ہم سے فاطمہ زہرا کر چکی ہے ایک وعدہ، اب ہماری جنت ہے ہم حسین والے ہیں، یا علی کی مدحت ہے یا حسین کا ماتم، ہر نفس عبادت ہے ہم حسین والے ہیں، طور تک گئے موسیٰ اور کربلا تک ہم، یہ ہماری رفعت ہے ہم حسین والے ہیں، یہ ہماری قسمت ہے ہم حسین والے ہیں، ہم حسین والے ہیں۔ With the loudest of our voices, let us give a big salawat to Imam Hussain alayhi salam, a gift on his birthday today. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. جتنے آئے ہیں آپ کے در پہ کبھی خالی پھرا نہیں در سے، ہم بھی ہے آپ کے سب سوالی، کیسے خالی پھرے تیرے در سے، سب کی جولی کو مولا تم بھر دو، اپنا روضہ ہمیں اب دکھاؤ، یا حسین میری فریاد سن لو، اپنا روضہ ہمیں اب دکھاؤ، جو ہے بیمار پاتے شفا ہے، نابیناؤں کو نور ملا ہے، ہاتھ پھیلا کے کب سے کھڑے ہیں، طالب رحم میں دل جلاؤں، میرا دامن مرادوں سے بھر دو، اپنا روضہ ہمیں اب دکھاؤ، یا حسین میری فریاد سن لو، اپنا روضہ ہمیں اب دکھاؤ، تم نے لاکھوں کے آنسو ہے پہنچے، ٹوٹے دل کو سہارا ہے بخشے، میری امید کو اب نہ توڑو، لطف کی ایک نظر ہم پہ کر دو، مولا امداد کرنے کو آؤ، اپنا روضہ ہمیں اب دکھاؤ، یا حسین میری فریاد سن لو، اپنا روضہ ہمیں اب دکھاؤ، یا حسین میری فریاد سن لو، اپنا روضہ ہمیں اب دکھاؤ. With the loudest of our voices, let us give Imam al-Zamana a gift of one salawat on this blessed occasion of birthday of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Let us stand up for ziyarat of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي هلت بفنائك، عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بكيت وبكي الليل والنهار، ولا جعل الله آخر الأحد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا غريب الغرباء، السلطان أبا الحسن مولانا علي بن موسى الرضا، كن شفيعنا وشفيع والدينا في يوم الجزاء ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا صاحب العصر والزمان، الأمان الأمان الأمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن، السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا كعبة الإيمان، السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان، أجل الله لك ما وعدك من النصر وظهور الأمر ورحمة الله وبركاته. دعاء الإمام. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة، وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرزك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Kushali Mubarak to all Mu'minin and Mu'minat who are watching this program and all over the world.